Well, hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the Accidental Swingers podcast.
Episode 59? I'm going to say 59.
I think so.
Yeah.
I was say I have no idea, but I think you're right. Yeah, episode 59.
Typically, I would look that up before we started, but it's a different kind of day. We're in a different kind of place.
It is.
In a different kind of week.
It is. So we wanted to come to you really quickly. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And so we wanted to say hello. Here we are. We haven't disappeared. We are around. Mm-hmm. We're here. And we were talking about the fact that it's been quite some time since our last episode.
Yeah, since August of 2025. I think was our last official release.
I was just going to say it was nice and quiet here. Until about literally 2 minutes ago. So, but that's all right. That's part of what we do. So we haven't released in a long time, and we wanted to come back and talk about a little bit about why we have been on a little bit of a hiatus, and what that means as to what we're going to be doing now and moving forward.
Right.
So it's been a long while.
And even before our last recording in August of 2025, we were very sporadic. And so we've been on probably, I would say, a multi-year hiatus.
That's true.
At this point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been really, really tough, and we wanted to share. I think we shared a little bit a couple of years ago with me and some of the changes that I was going through with my hormones and going into menopause and the challenges that was bringing forth. And so that's been a large part of why we've had to go on hiatus. This has been a very challenging time for me. Not only life, mental health, physical health, sexual health. There have been a lot of struggles in the last couple of years. And so a few years ago, when we reported about menopause and the hormones and the fact that the hormone pellet didn't help me, and then I had to do even more research. And if you guys remember, I did some recordings with a functional medicine doctor, Dr. Tanisha Wards, who I've been working with for the past few years about my health and some of the things and working on my gut. So that has been a large part of, for me, what's been going on. So we talked about that a couple of years ago as we began the journey. I don't think I fully understood how much life can get in the way of life. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it has been particularly challenging.
Yeah.
I kind of can fill in a little bit for me. So the last couple of years, I talked about that for my physical health, my sexuality. My mom, as you guys may or may not remember also, has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She's the first person in our family that have been diagnosed with that, and that has been challenges in and of itself. I'm mostly her caregiver for that. She lives near me. We have an amazing place and facility, but it's a total different challenge when you're facing this with your parent and have not had any type of experience with this before. So it's a really challenging disease, and it's very mentally tough on the caregivers and the family around them. So that has been a huge piece, and finally feeling like we're moving in a little bit of a direction with that, so that maybe traveling some now to be able to feel a little bit more free with her. But I think also a lot of the changes that I was going through for the first time in my life, I really felt like I've always known what depression is. I think people know what depression is. We all get depressed sometimes. And I've worked with people who have been suicidal and depressed for years, but I never really felt that for myself until these past 2 years. I feel like I totally could have been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and that was a big difference for me.
Yeah.
I definitely had those days where I felt like, wow, I know when people say they don't want to get out of bed, what that really feels like. And it was pretty debilitating. And I'm the type of person that handles a lot of stuff on my own. So I struggled through a lot of that. You're going through your stuff at the same time. So it's been a very challenging time. We're starting to turn the corner. I'm starting to turn the corner on that. For me, it's been my hormones, I think, are starting to level out. We're working with some more supplements and things. My libido is starting to feel like it's coming back. My body is changing a little bit back, like where I was getting some of those old lady symptoms, like, not only my libido dying, but dryness and things like that. I'm starting to see a shift in that. I'm starting to feel a little bit more normal. And so that's encouraging. And I feel cautiously optimistic about getting back on track. And I'm not pushing myself, though. I think that's part of it too. And we've talked about this, like, when do we start podcasting again? Because we want to bring some of the stories and things back, but we don't.
Well, we were intentionally pausing because you weren't in the right headspace.
Right. Oh yeah. So now feeling like we'd be able to move forward with some of that. So that's really the hope. What about you?
My challenges have not been nearly as dramatic as yours. Tangentially, I'm dealing with, because we're a team and because I love you so much and we tackle everything together, I'm kind of in a tangential manner dealing with the same things in my trying to help you. Personally, I'm not having the same level of difficulty and the same level of challenge that you are, but I am having my own challenges, and mostly health-wise. And for decades, I have led a very fun yet very unhealthy life in terms of my eating and drinking and lack of exercise, and just not living a very good lifestyle. I have a very sedentary career, and I don't move very much, and so I got very, very heavy, up to just under 250 pounds about 2.5 years ago when we decided to look into GLP-1 agonists, and we started with semaglutide. And this is something that you have talked about on the podcast as well. Some of the strategies that we've employed, with GLP-1s. You had a much more dramatic improvement than I did, because I was at the same time not changing my diet as well as I should have been, and still continuing to drink a lot of beer. And so that went on for probably, it's been what, 2.5 years since we started that.
Yeah.
And
almost. Not quite, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's really, for me, and I did see some improvement, and I lost 30 something pounds, but in the last, I'm going to say 4 to 5 months, when I really have committed to making a change, that's when I've seen really dramatic improvements. And the changes that I've made is I have essentially stopped drinking. I still drink Heineken Zero. I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer, which I've actually come to enjoy. And here we are on a Bliss cruise, and I've been drinking non-alcoholic beer the entire time, which is, although we were in Jamaica 2 days ago, and I did have some red stripes in Jamaica, and I can't not. But so that's been the primary driver, which has then cascaded into other parts of my life. I have started eating much better, which obviously is making a lot of improvements. But then also exercise. When I was younger, I was incredibly active. I used to run 10 miles a day. I used to play tennis almost every day. I used to water ski on the weekends. I was very, very active. That has had for decades gone by the wayside. Whereas in the last couple of months, I've resumed running, not nearly like I did, but in changing my diet, eating clean, and not drinking and as much. So that combination of things, in the last 4 months, I've lost over 40 pounds. And so my cumulative total of weight loss is about 74 pounds at this point.
Wow.
And it's made a dramatic difference in certainly how I look, but how I feel generally, although I still feel, so to make such a dramatic change in a relatively short period of time, my body has gone into, is making a lot of adjustments. And so, the most direct issue for me has been sleep, and my natural circadian rhythm of getting up at 5 o'clock every morning has come back, but I'm still having difficulty going to bed at night or staying asleep, and so I'm just not getting as much sleep as I need to, which my research has told me is not uncommon for people who basically stop drinking. So I have that issue to deal with, which typically takes, I've researched, 6 to 9 months to normalize. So as the rest of my body is normalizing and my system's normalizing, my gut microbiome is normalizing, I'm working on repairing that as well. So, I've had a lot of tumult in my body and my psyche as well, positive and negative. And so I'm told that I might have been a little cranky from time to time and a little grumpy.
Yep.
Yep.
Every day I just keep going. It's okay.
It'll get better.
It's okay. It's going to be better. It's been challenging.
Yeah.
It's been challenging. And I think that's part of and this is why we wanted to come and talk about this, because it has been challenging. It's so much to so where we were like, do we continue on with the podcast?
Right.
Not in the sense of we're okay, but do we have anything fun and exciting to share anymore? Because right now it's
You mean falling asleep at 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah, and like, and you're grumpy a lot and everything is not copacetic a lot of times. And so, and we all know, we're all hoping that at the end it tends to not be that way, but it's been challenging. It's been challenging. And then add on top of my own stuff on top of it. So we're both going through things. And of course, if you guys all know, we're a foursome, so we're all for dealing with it in our own ways. But we really felt like, and it's so important to talk about it, and we wanted to talk about it. And if you start to see pictures of us or see this on YouTube, you'll notice that Tristan looks drastically different. I think for me, it was more of a longer drawn out process. So people who hadn't seen me in a long time, they notice it, but you look so different that we said we really needed to come on and take some pictures and show us to say he's okay. Nothing's wrong. This was on purpose. But you've worked really hard to accomplish it, but we're still struggling through a lot of the physical and mental aspects which roll over into sexual.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it's all connected.
Yeah.
And so
and that has been a challenge for me. It has been a challenge for you for a couple of years now. So this is a relatively new thing for me, that I've lost a lot of my libido in the last 5 to 6 months or so. And it's just because I'm so exhausted all the time now. And it's just a multitude of reasons. But with such dramatic changes in my physical and biochemical and just all of the rest of it, something's got to give. And so my libido has tanked somewhat. So that's been very frustrating. But that is coming back as well. I think what I hear us saying is that we're both quite the pair.
Yeah.
Quite a catch here at a swinger event. But,
Woohoo!
Woohoo. But I think that we are both turning a corner. So much so that we have been very, very direct with one another about resuming the podcast. We did talk about, do we even continue going? And the answer is yes, absolutely, because we have a lot to say. We have a lot to give people. And we've seen that, we see that all the time. Like when we go to Caliente, people come up to us all the time and thank us for the work that we do and how we've helped a lot of people in the lifestyle and with their relationships. And we're hoping now with this piece as well.
Right.
And so it's that, that's the reward that we get from doing this, which is not an easy thing to do. And so we love being able to give back to our community. Right. And this is one way that we can do it.
Right.
So the answer is yes, absolutely. We're going to continue with the podcast, and it's going to shift and change as we're shifting and changing. I think that we do have a lot to give the community, and this is part of it, as mentioned. This piece that everybody is going to go through some health challenge, some life challenge. Our lives are just are very complex and complicated, and everybody's lives are complex and complicated. And so this is one piece of who we are. And, all the rest of it, sometimes gets in the way.
And I think we talked about, the thing that chimed true to me is years ago, you and I talked about if we never had sex with strangers again, for lack of a better term, we never had sex with somebody that wasn't our partner again, we would still consider ourselves swingers. Because the lifestyle, the attitude, and the people that you enjoy and the environment that you enjoy doesn't change. So for instance, we're here on the Bliss cruise, our very first Bliss cruise. We're going to talk about that in the next episode. We'll do a little review.
For us, the lifestyle is such a part of who we are.
So we always said that even if we weren't going to be having sex with other people, we would always be in the lifestyle. And so that's part of just because we may not have the salacious stories to tell anymore, our lifestyle journey is not over.
Oh, yeah.
Because we want to be active in the lifestyle, whatever that means for us, whatever that means for myself individually as I grow older. It may look different for you, but we're on this journey together. And part of that is what that looks like for each other and honoring that. The lifestyle isn't always about having sex. Now we understand there's a lot more to it. And in talking to so many people in these last couple of months about what are we doing with the podcast, so many folks are in the same boat we are, and they don't have the information that we've had about the male sexual health aspects of things, the female sexual health aspects of things, what the new things are on the market. There's so much stuff that's out there that I didn't even know about it. And I feel like I'm a pretty educated person because we talk to so many people, and still new stuff comes up and people say, haven't you heard about the blah, blah, blah? Like, what are you talking about? This is a what that can do what? And so there's so many new advances coming out. And that's where I think we wanted to start to be able to bring some of this information, things that we're finding going on the GLP-1s, things that are enhancing our lives as we're getting older, that we want to continue to do to increase our sexual health and our mental health and our physical health. And that's part of why we decided to continue on with this.
Yeah.
The stories will come back.
I just wanted to be clear. There are salacious stories yet to be told and yet to be had. So
Yeah, yet to be had. Yeah, we still, yeah. So the podcast from now, I mean, we're still going to do our stories. We still have some stories to tell. We still make stories to tell. But we are going to talk about and bring on a lot of people and doing some, for lack of a better term, I kind of think of them as series, kind of spin-off series or whatever. But we want to be talking to a lot of we've met so many amazing people in this lifestyle that have so much to share about what they're doing for their sexual health and how they're maintaining and getting better as they're aging. And so I think that's going to be definitely a part of what we want to talk about.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's so much to share and so much to learn.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yep.
What else? Anything else?
Just more to come.
Yeah.
And as I always say, it always does get better, and it continues to.
It does.
Yeah.
In case, I think we didn't actually say it, we are actually on the Bliss cruise. Beautiful Cozumel, Mexico, in our port stop for today. So we are going to, this is our very first Bliss cruise. It's our first lifestyle cruise. And I was very excited to be a virgin. Once again. Finally for something. I don't know that there are a lot of categories left where I get to be a virgin at something. Although the more we've talked to people on this trip, I'm like, I've never done that before. Oh, so I could be a virgin at that. There are a lot of those types of things.
We're pretty creative.
Yeah.
So I think
but anyways, it was really fun. So yeah, so came on the cruise. I'm like, I'm a virgin on the cruise. So that was a lot of fun, and we're here. And so we're going to be giving our rundown of our experiences on the ship, on the cruise itself, the folks, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll record that as well, live and in person here on Bliss Cruise. But that will be coming out as well. We just really wanted to come back and say, hey guys, we're still here. You'll start hearing more from us. There'll be more things coming out. We wanted to say hello so you could see us. As you can see, Tristan looking so sexy these days. And just to say,
you should have seen me in the playrooms last night. I was particularly with my black silk boxers and my white mesh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's your new playroom outfit.
Yeah.
Your black silk boxers and your
Yeah.
mesh shirt. Yeah, you got a whole body underneath here.
And tonight's night, and so I'm going to wear my black mesh.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice. Well, you'll be looking sexy.
I hope so.
Very good.
I'll have to report back.
Yeah. All right. We will report back.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So that's it for now. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for still being there when we come back. If you have thoughts and ideas about things that you want to hear about, we're going to be talking a lot about stuff that we're all going through. So let us know what things you want to hear about and talk about. We'll be doing whole sessions on men's health, bringing in some people, some amazing folks that we've met, the women's health side of it as well. So let us know, because we're all, we want to be healthy as we continue to grow and experience this lifestyle. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thanks so much, guys, and we will see you next time.
Until next time.
Take care.